Did you know the Beatles used many strange recording techniques when creating some of their biggest hits? In this video, I want to share with you an example of this, and this song is based on the blues, as so many Beatles songs are, but these four lads from Liverpool took the fundamental principles of the blues and put their own twist on it, including borrowing or stealing a riff from the classic Chuck Berry tune, Johnny Be Good. In fact, John Lennon is even quoted as saying, if you had to give rock and roll another name, you might as well call it Chuck Berry. So grab your guitar and let's dive into this revolution guitar lesson. Now, the first thing we got to talk about is the tuning. Now, there's a lot of lessons online that show this in the key of A, or play it with a capo, or play it in the key of B. But I want to give you my 2 cents on this, and this relates back to those unconventional recording techniques. You know, years ago I would teach in-person lessons, and I would often have students come in and they would play me a song, or I'd look up a song on my computer if they wanted to learn it, and I would teach it to them. And sometimes there would be a song that was out of tune. You know, it wasn't like standard A440 pitch. And so I'd listen to the song and then I'd be in tune and I'd play something on my guitar and I'd go, oh, it's out of tune. And they're like, what? What do you mean? They would, get really nervous or concerned, and they'd trust me, like, oh, John seems to know what he's talking about. But then it's like, what? The Beatles were out of tune? They couldn't tune their guitars? What are you talking about? And so my theory is that they sped up the tape machines back in the day. So for example, with this song, they would record it playing in the key of A on their guitar, but after it was recorded, they would speed up the tape, and this would give it a brighter, kind of snappier sound, but it would also change the pitch. And it was just a nudge, it wasn't like dramatically altering the sound where you could, really tell it sounded like chipmunks singing or something. It was like completely fake. But this was a key thing that was done on a lot of Beatles songs. And you could hear this on Here Comes the Sun, and it's about 40 cents sharp. So between a half step, there is 100 cents. And so you actually go slightly between the two notes. So for this song, you have an A, but it's between A and B flat. So you get this like, you actually have a pitch that is between those two keys. Now, it's not that they played out of tune. They knew how to tune their guitars and they played their guitars in tune, but they did this after the fact as like a studio thing, speeding up the tape machine. So my theory with Revolution is they played it in the key of A, but they tuned their guitar first up a half step. Okay, so get ready for this tuning. It is F, B flat, E flat, A flat, C, and F. Okay, so it's basically just a guitar up a half step. This is why I love tellies, because it's just so easy to tune up a half step. And then they played in A. So they had this groove like, but then after they recorded it, they sped up the tape machine. So if you want to be right in tune with the recording, like you can hear it on Spotify, don't necessarily take the recordings on YouTube for 100% certainty, because a lot of times people pitch, they go even further and do this. They modify the pitch of a recording to not get flagged for YouTube copyrights, which is just, it's not smart to do. But either way, you can't necessarily trust all the recordings. So if you go to like the actual record, you'll hear that it's up a half step and then about 40 cents more. So you would have to go in between the notes. But the point is that you want to play this in the key of A, and you can see this in a live version. If you go on my blog, you can see a live version of the Beatles playing this. And again, you see them playing that riff in the key of A, and you can't really do it. You can't really get the same feel and the same sound playing it. Some lessons are in the key of B. They just show it in B, like, which is fine for like a secondary guitar part. But the main John Lennon part is in the key of A, and he kicks it off with this classic Chuck Berry style riff that goes like this. All right, so let me break this down. It's just triplets. So it's 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and it's a triplet rhythm. And then I'm sliding in on a double stop here at the 5th fret. Again, like, right? Johnny B. Good. So you've got this 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a for 3 bars. And then you just move it up to the 8th fret. Do a little push on those notes as like a bluesy bend. And then you go. Okay, and that's the 9th fret. 8 on the 2nd string. Bend up 10 on the 2nd string. Then grab 10 on the 1st string. So here it is all together. It's a 4-bar figure for the intro, and then you go into the verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the first part. And if you want to be able to hear your favorite recordings and then go to your guitar and instantly play what you hear without sheet music, tabs, or even having to watch a lesson, then go to johnmcclennan.com/golden-ear and grab my free ear training cheat sheet. Ear training is how I've been able to put up over 2,000 song lessons online and be able to figure out any song that I want. And I want to share some of those ideas with you. Just go to johnmcclennan.com/golden-ear and grab my free ear training cheat sheet right now. All right, from there we dive into a very common blues shuffle pattern, but the Beatles put their own twist on it. Check it out. So that's the groove there, and it's based off an A5 chord. I'm playing 8th notes, 1 and I'm kind of just getting strings 5 and 4 there. And I'm using a sort of Stevie Ray Vaughan muting technique there, so where I get a nice groovy shuffle. And then you do this little hammer on from the 2nd fret on the 4th string to the 4th fret, keeping that 2 underneath. So it goes. Now a tricky thing that happens is you have 2 bars of that pattern and then you have just 2 beats of it. It's a 2/4 measure. And John Lennon would do this all the time. He would just like add a beat or take away a beat. So you'd have like 5/4 measures or 3/4 measures all over. And so if you're not listening for it, you can easily get off. So it's gonna go like this. 1, 2, 3, switch. Okay, then we go to the 4 chord, which is just another common blues move. Here I go. So that's just like a D shape there, and then I'm hammering to the 4th fret, and then back. Okay, then we go to A. So that's 1 time through the verse. Then you do the same thing again, but you add an E at the end. So you go from D to E instead of D back to A. That would sound like this. So what I did there was just shift up to low E and play the same pattern. Then we play this. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so what I played there was a B minor chord, but I put the F sharp in the bass, so I grabbed that extra note there on the 6th string 2nd fret. Just hit it on the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, then E, 2, 3, 4, then again, 2, 3, 4. Then I play bar chords, G, A, F sharp, like this. 1 and 2 and. Okay, now right there, that's actually a 2/4 bar as well. So it's gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then I just strum quarter notes like 2, 3, 4. Then you go to E, and you can play triplets. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay. Then we're back to the blues figure. So this is the pre-chorus. I'll back up and play from those hits. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so right there we're at the chorus, which is where they sing, you know, it's gonna be all right, and we just vamp between the A chord and the D chord. We do that 3 times. It's gonna go 1, D, 2, D, 3, D. Now this is one part that a lot of people don't play right. If you're not in this tuning or if you're playing it in B, you can't actually play this part the way it sounds on the recording because you're getting these really cool open strings. Check it out. 3, 4. Okay, so what I'm playing there is the low E, then hammer, open D string. Now a lot of people just go and play the same thing, but it's actually, you get this. Again, think about the blues. You see, you gotta have that C sharp note in there. I mean, how cool of a riff is that? Just like, okay? If you just play the same part over, it just sounds kind of boring, but adding that in there, again, from the blues, makes all the difference, so. Then you go back to the rhythm pattern. Now when we end the song, we have these 6 chords, and the Beatles use this all the time. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna play this, these 2 chords here. These are the last 2 chords. B flat 6 to A6. And you're coming out of this vamp, you're going A, D, A, D, A, just like the chorus, D. Now here we go, E, then A. Okay, so you hit the A, 1, and then you do those 2 chords. So it's 1 and 2. So that's my take on Revolution as recorded by the Beatles. Again, those unusual recording techniques, and then of course the blues fundamentals make all the difference. Now if you want to be able to figure out songs like this, again, make sure you go to johnmclennan.com/golden-ear and grab my free ear training cheat sheet. This is how I'm able to figure out songs, hear things on recordings, and be able to instantly play it, but also be able to kind of listen into the nuances. Like, oh, this is, you know, slightly, the tuning on this is a little different, and you can hear all those nuances. So if you want to be able to do this yourself, go to johnmclennan.com/golden-ear and grab my free ear training cheat sheet right now. As always, hope you enjoyed this video, and if you like this one, you might like this one next.